Hey everyone, welcome back to the Performance Marketing Minds podcast, brought to you by Outbrain Direct Response. I'm your host, Joe Addona, and today I'm joined by Laine Rosa, head of product for the performance team at Outbrain Direct Response by Teads. Yes, she's internal over here and one of the best people our company has seen over the last 11 years. Laine and I discuss going beyond the buzzwords of AI to the art of building solutions that truly make an impact. She emphasizes the importance of prioritizing real customer needs over flashy innovation, sharing insights on how product teams should drive customer success and solve meaningful problems. Hopefully this gives you all a peek behind the curtain of Teads and really what we try to achieve on the product side. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, follow this podcast. It goes a long way to help reach the right people. All right, enjoy my chat with my friend, Laine Rosa. I guess in the interest of time, let's kick it off. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
I know. I feel like I've known you for almost 10 years now, which is kind of crazy. If we reflect back on our relationship in the early days in an old office, and you were an account manager and I was a junior account manager, and you eventually moved into product and me in sales. But it's been a little
journey.
bit of a ride.
Yeah.
I know. Well, why did you choose to move into product? And I mean, this is an interview about you and not really about me. So it's not really me talking about why I moved into sales, although I might touch on it. But What about like being an account manager and at Outbrain motivated you to be on the product side of things?
So it was an interesting time. And I think I joined like probably almost exactly a year before you did. But it was like 2014. We were in this like heyday of the beginning of content recommendations, right? Like people were running millions of dollars of traffic to blogs, right? The whole goal was to get people on their site. It was, and by a heyday, I mean like from an easy to meet goals kind of way.
Yeah.
And so, my job as an account manager was like lowering CPCs and optimizing towards high CTRs. Like it was interesting, and it was like learning this industry, which, I was new to the industry. But like, I would say it was relatively routine, like a lot of the same day to day. And then like 2016, the world of where like our ad tech space started to really change. Like we started thinking about targeting audiences, looking at that time, we would just kind of call it like lower funnel goals. We were not as specific about what we were like understanding customers to need, but like our product was starting to evolve rapidly. But like on the account management side, we didn't really know what that meant. We didn't know how to, teach our customers the value of these products. We didn't know why they were being built. We didn't know what was coming next. Like we had this lack of visibility because everything had been relatively straightforward to that point. So I was like, I went to our head of product at the time and I was like, we're missing a bridge here, right? Like we're missing that understanding of like how these products are supposed to be seen and used by customers and how we can essentially go to market with them. And I thought I could be that bridge. Like that was really my goal because I always was really interested in how things are built. I'm a little older than you, but do you remember like Mr. Rogers?
Yeah, of course. I know that. I'm not. Yeah.
Well, okay. So I grew up with Mr. Rogers and I loved the sessions of like how things are made, right? Like he would do these, like he had all these different skits, but like the things that I loved the most was when he would like go in to show you how crayons were made or something like that. Like I love to know why something was being done and how. So when I found out that like I could actually move into the product team, I jumped at the chance because I was like, I want to know how these things are made. I want to know why these things are made. I want to take my customer knowledge, like, because I had been working with customers directly for like 2.5 years. And I was like, I want to get in the weeds. I want to be behind the scenes and take what I know and help make that scalable to everybody else.
Yeah, that's super cool. It's kind of like I'm not that way. My younger brother is, and now he's an engineer and works for Turner Construction in New York City and like builds buildings and does all this crazy stuff. And at an early age, he was taking apart lawnmowers and like helping my dad
Yeah.
put them back together. And like,
I was
so I
never
totally get
good
it.
enough to be an engineer like that, but I wish I had been. My nickname was like the mechanic because I always wanted to help.
Ah,
I wasn't like, like your brother probably could actually do it. I wanted to watch and help and like, I don't know, see
that's a
what was
cool
under the
nickname.
hood.
I dig that nickname. I never
Yeah.
knew that. I wonder how many people at Outbrain know you're the mechanic.
Nobody.
Or at
I mean,
Teads know
this
you're the
was
mechanic.
like childhood nickname. I think you're
Okay,
probably the first person I've mentioned that to in like 10 years, but it seems
nice.
relevant. Yeah.
I'm gonna put a wrench next to your name in my phone. That's hilarious. So that leads us to where we are now, and you've been
Yeah.
doing it for quite a long time. And as I moved into sales, you've been leading the product side and now lead product for our whole performance division, which is basically a complete 180 from when you joined and when I started. And, our dashboard looked like an Excel file. And yeah, we just literally were optimizing to click-through rate and CPCs. And now we have a whole big performance marketing division. It's the biggest one at Teads. We merged with Teads and took their name, and we have this really cool opportunity and like story that's a pitch, but it's kind of the reality of being this full funnel open internet branding mixed with performance. And we're seeing performance advertisers tap into CTV. So how has that changed? I mean, I feel like I know we talk every week, multiple times a week about like the products that are being built and what we're working on, but how has that shifted in your mindset, especially after the merger and what we focus on?
Yeah, I mean it's a great question. The merger, like to your point, like there is an amazing story that we can tell in the marketplace now about like Teads and the opportunity there. For me on like a day to day and what I think it means to like working on like the direct response business is so much more focus. Like before I was working broadly, like my team was supporting Amplify, which is our buying platform that had I don't know, maybe like 10 different personas of buyers that we were all trying to like make sure that basically everything we did was essentially for the greater good. And we couldn't be really, really focused on a single client type. So to me, like from a practical standpoint of what this merger has meant for like my team and for me is like we really get to dive in and understand like the direct response and what we need within our segment and develop specific products for us, which I think has been a huge game changer for the prioritization and the product process that goes into deciding what to build next, how to build it, what customers to talk to about what they need, what's the next big thing that's going to change for them. Like we're really able to hone in on this group and like create products that are super tailored. And it's been so fun. Like, I mean, mergers are a challenge, right? Like merging two big companies, there's challenges involved for a lot of people, but for us, we've just been just really appreciating this like this focus and this ability to dive deep with you and your team and like yeah, I don't know. I think we are being a lot more impactful these days.
Yeah, I think so too. And I'm glad you said you're having fun. I mean, it's definitely in the performance world and direct response buyers and marketers and stuff. It's so different, and especially because like one of our colleagues taught me this a while ago, but just putting yourself in the position of these performance marketers who are using their own money most of the time and they're maxing out their own credit cards or their business credit cards and they're trying to find wins and they're comparing us to other networks and other channels, and they're really only going to, which I would do too, they're going to spend the time on the channel and the platform that's making them the most money. And that's great because sometimes it can take a buyer on our side going from $500 a day and spend to $50,000 a day. But that $50,000 a day could also go away in like the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
So that's the problem that we're all tasked to solve, mostly you and the product side, to figure out how we keep things more consistent, how we keep
Yeah.
things heading in the right direction. And yeah, challenge is exciting and fun, I'm sure.
It is. And look, the clients and our partners, they feel like true partners, right? Like if we can nail it, like We have a great set of clients that we work with and that give us great feedback, and it's pressure, sure, but I think it's coming from a great place of trying to make us all more successful.
Yeah. In that mix of everyone too, we have like those smaller buyers, we have larger brands that are spending like how do we segment those out on a product side? Like if somebody comes in and is just your typical like self-serve DIY small business that we know isn't going to be the biggest client at Teads, but we're still excited to work with them and build tools for them compared to, I don't know, someone spending $150,000, $200,000 a day in the search arbitrage space. Like, how do you prioritize your time and your team's time, and what do we really focus on throughout that whole process?
Yeah. So you're like, they're definitely entirely different needs, but at the same time, like, okay, so like these larger, let's say $200,000 a day clients, like they want more control. They want access to any tool that we can give them to help them be successful. But we learn so much from them to actually enable us to create more automation and scalable tools for the smaller customers that maybe have a little bit less time to be as hands-on or slightly bigger learning curve or whatnot. Like, I think that while we build differently for each type, as you said, we learn so much from each one that there's this nice overlap in the middle where we can build more scalable products because we learn really what helps clients scale up, what moves the needle, from building tools for our larger customers. And so we really just do a trade-off and a balance in our roadmap for both. We dive deep with particular customers and create tools that will really help that large buyer scale. And then we have a separate team essentially that works on scalability. They do a lot around AI and agentic AI and opportunities there to make any client potentially scalable. We want all of our clients to be able to scale and be as efficient as possible, to your point. Not maxing out those credit cards in a bad way, but like really investing as much as possible with quick and effortless returns. So it's a nice balance to have both, really. I think it helps us learn and grow and create a better platform for everybody.
Yeah, it's a unique part about being at Teads and what once was Outbrain, like having a team dedicated to just performance marketers, like you said, and understanding the segment, but also being under one umbrella and not like there's a key account management team or a key sales team that's only talking to the big folks and the small folks are on a different side. It's like anybody that we bring in and wants to advertise on Teads gets the same level of treatment. And I feel like one of the things I've heard over the 10 years is that we're one of the only platforms that actually puts like faces behind emails, like you have to be spending millions and millions of dollars a month at Meta and Google, and not so much TikTok because they have a good support team. Shout out George. But it's like, it's a blessing and a curse because we're so in the weeds that we talk so much and we build these great relationships and try and help build products. But it's a good thing. And I like it. Yeah.
I mean, and shout out to like Joe, your team, the international teams, like the folks that are working with all these clients, because we do hear that, right? That face behind the email, but more than that, like the learnings shared with the big clients are, we really learn from each other. Like we on the product side work directly with our internal business teams constantly. We get that feedback, whether we're talking to clients directly or we're talking to you guys.
Yeah, you get the feedback. You definitely do.
We get the feedback. Let me tell you, it all comes to us. But we appreciate it. The good, bad, the ugly, the great, like every single piece of feedback that comes in, we take really seriously. And our account management team does an amazing job of funneling that feedback to us and making sure that the clients' voices are heard in the product org, for sure.
Yeah. And I got sidetracked, but I wanted to go back to the exciting, cool product side of things. And one of the things that I'm super bullish on that's not a reality yet is all this MCP server. I can't even say because it's so new. For all this agentic AI and people using these APIs to make automated rule sets and monitor all of their ad spend across all different networks. But I think it's stuff like that we leaned into and are kind of really one of the first movers on the ad tech side, which is super exciting. But for those people that like don't know what MCP is and what's gonna, I don't know if I'm like over exaggerating, but I've been telling people that it's like the future of media buying, and media buyers can sit on the beach and drink a Corona with a lime when all of their campaigns are just being monitored in the background from the rules they set up. But can you kind of like dive into that, why we thought it was important and how we see the future there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think not just with agentic AI, but like you made the point that we're like first movers with this stuff. Like I think in general, the way like Teads and formerly Outbrain has approached AI has always been, how do we make ourselves smarter with the tools that are available to us, right? How do we make our clients more efficient? How do we build better products? How can we be faster and better at what we do? So MCP protocol, which is like really new, as you said, like it's another opportunity. It's another opportunity for us to like empower our customers with better data transparency, like more intuitive tools, like the ability to just have something in the background translating, like you just can speak in common language to this robust data platform and tell it what you're looking for and what you're trying to do and have yourself understood, which is miles beyond where we've been in the past, right? Where you had to be in the weeds, very, very specific with what you're looking for, offboarding all this data, pivot tables. I mean, the days of pivot tables, like they might be.
Thank God I never learned how to do it because
Joe.
Yeah, we just had Olivia do it. Steve and I were just, Olivia, can you please do this pivot table for us?
Oh my gosh.
And
Yeah.
she would help us out.
You know what? You were right. It's the same thing like how, you know, when we were in elementary school, they told us we'd never have a calculator in real life, right? It's like that was also not true. But
yeah, I'm still mad about cursive.
I wish kids still learned cursive. I think it's a torture we all must endure in our lifetime. But anyway, I digress. Basically, like, just think about that. Like the way that the time we've all spent on manipulating data to understand what's happening, to just say like, hey, what's my top opportunity? This is what I'm looking to achieve. And be able to take action on that. Like you said, sipping a Corona on the beach and just like having a chat with a dashboard. Incredible. So we want to empower that. Like it's not unrealistic that that's the very near future. And we want to be first there because we really want all of our customers to be as efficient and empowered and as capable as possible via the tools we offer them. So we're really excited. We're like genuinely energized by all these opportunities. We nerd out so hard at all these new opportunities. Like our internal like product team chats is like, did you see this? Did you see this? I think we can do this. This platform was like experimenting and it's awesome.
Yeah. And so you took the words right out of my mouth. I'm just curious how you guys on the team balance what our clients need versus what the market is indicating, right? And you see other platforms doing really cool shit. And how much of that is seeing it and going after it, and how much of it is like the internal needs and feedback from the account management team and clients?
I don't know that I could put a measure on percentage between the two. I think that like there's always a connection. Somebody might have done it first, but they're not doing it because they haven't gotten the feedback that this is going to be, you know, really important to customers. So we might be hearing and seeing the same thing, like seeing it in a really like new and innovative way somewhere else, but also hearing from customers that X, Y, and Z is a problem, right? And the way that you think on the product side is you're listening for problems. You're not listening for solutions. You're trying to understand what the customers truly need. Like you're not going to a customer and saying, what do you want me to build for you? You're saying, what problem can I help you solve? So when you hear a problem from a customer and then you see these, like, let's say competitors or just other people in the space working on something really cool and exciting and interesting, what you're doing is connecting the dots between what problem they're likely trying to solve for their customers, what problems we hear from our customers, and like how can we create the right solution for the people who are working in our platform or the future people who are working in our platform.
Yeah, that makes sense. Does that, like, what keeps you up at night? Is it not delivering cool stuff fast enough? Is it like that if the product isn't good enough, we're going to have clients churn? Like, what do you really, and you and the team really worry about, like, when you're sitting there at night?
I mean, sure, we love building cool stuff and we love getting excited about AI. But what keeps us up at night is making sure our customers can be successful. Like, we can build something flashy, but if it doesn't solve a problem, a real customer problem, it's just something to talk about for 5 minutes and then it'll go away. Like, I would be happy to build nothing cool if our platform literally just, you put your goal in and then at the end of the day you're successful. Like, that's all that really matters. And that is cool, so I shouldn't say nothing cool.
That is cool. Like, none of us would have a job, so that wouldn't be cool, but it is cool.
No, but like, it's not about the flashy stuff. It's about what works and really helps clients achieve goals. But what we think about is how we can help clients do it most effectively and efficiently. And a lot of that is product investment around AI tools and other opportunities within like our algorithm and things like that.
Yeah. And I feel like this year has been crazy because of the merge, but it felt like a couple months ago we started pretty consistently shipping stuff, like shipping new bidding algos. Like one of the things that just came out, this podcast probably won't come out until December, and we're recording in October on Mischief Night here on the East Coast. If you're not familiar with that, you've lived a sad life. But one of the cooler things is like now the new target ROAS mode was built for search and revamped for search, and now it's kind of going into, by the point December rolls around, I'm sure we're going to have a bunch of more traditional direct response marketers and affiliates and people running e-com, health, lead gen, all using it, which is really cool, but constantly iterating on that and trying to find where the wins are. Like, other than that, what do people have to look forward to? Like, if they hear this in December and they say, cool, once I get out of my slumber and I start running health offers in Q1, like, what should they be pumped about? Like, what are we building that's coming down the pipeline?
Yeah, I think that, you mentioned like target ROAS for search, and not important at the moment that that's how the product is released, but that concept of getting a deeper, more nuanced understanding of individual client goals and how our algorithm should optimize for each one, right? Like, we want to be more, I think surgical is the word I'm looking for, right? In how each campaign that is launched, what type of content is it? What do we know about this type of content or this type of client? How will it best succeed in our network? And how can we put the very best foot forward for each individual ad, essentially, that launches in our network? How can we better understand the nuances of what a customer is really looking for? So a lot of times we work with customers who might have a conversion action that they're tracking, but they're also looking at something else, right? They might be looking at a quality metric that we might have less access to at the moment. Qualified leads that happen days later. For search, how is this traffic evaluated? We're trying to get a lot smarter and more nuanced about how we treat each individual campaign. And I think 2026, as I mentioned, of what keeps me up at night, I think we're going to see a lot of investment and improvement there on the outcomes. Of course, we're going to continue investing in automation, MCP, AI. But what I really hope that everyone sees at the end of 2026 is effortless performance.
I need that on a t-shirt. Effortless that's a good tagline. Elevated outcomes, effortless performance. That should be the motto.
Maybe I should have switched to marketing. Who knows?
I know, we're hiring in marketing. I was pitching some ideas earlier.
Okay.
It's like, on that point too, I remember a couple years ago, and when I first started to get into the direct response space and used to call on like the big holding agencies and big brands out on the West Coast and stuff. And we were trying to get people we almost had to convince them to input the ROAS metrics and LTV and order values and all that kind of stuff to try and help the algo. And there was some pushback around that, because I think people were like, I'm not sharing all my data with you. This is how I make my money, all this kind of stuff. But I feel like in the last 12 to 18 months, people have kind of capitulated and just started to share that. And it's been helpful, like a ton, because we can make better decisions. The product automatically makes better decisions. So I'm glad people kind of got on the ship.
Me too. I think people are understanding ultimately that we are using that data to help them. Like that our goal is their goal. That the better performance that we can drive for them, like the happier we are. That we're not trying to onboard the data for other people. Like I know that was like the old scare, but really we're just trying to make each client as successful as they possibly can be.
Yeah, for sure. And that brings me to the Mythbuster question. We used to do Mythbusters a lot in the early days. Yeah, it used to be fun. Get on a Kahoot, answer some questions, figure out the right answer. And I actually like folding this into the podcast for the first time as like a something we do, because I was just sitting there last night with my wife and we were watching Call Her Daddy, and she had Andy Cohen on. And I was like, I was amazed by like how quick she had like questions and segments and things like that. And it's not necessarily what I want to do and make it so snappy like that for this, but I thought it was cool. I was like, man, she's polished and she's really talented and good and all this kind of stuff.
She is really good. And she's gotten, like you said, she's got these traditional segments now that she peppers into each one, and I think it's been fun. Yeah. Yeah,
it was good. Andy Cohen had a text Lisa Vanderpump, who they're going to cut from Beverly Hills, and she said all of them apparently. So, but anyway,
okay.
What's like back to the Mythbusters, which also I know I'm talking a lot, but that was a great show on Discovery Channel. I was a Discovery Channel nerd.
See, back to how things work. Mythbusters, yeah.
I know. Mike Rowe, Dirty Jobs.
Yeah. So maybe you actually did have an interest in these, getting in the weeds, Joe.
There was a time that in college I thought I was going to abandon the marketing degree and go be in the union and work for like the Teamsters with my dad, who works for Aqua. And I was like, I want to get my hands dirty. I want to actually do stuff. But I guess I'm kind of glad I stayed on the computer. It worked out so far. But what's the biggest like misconception about, or maybe there's multiple, about like native and performance media on our platform or others? Like, I guess it's kind of a broad question.
I also love Mythbusters, so I think this is a great question. So to me, it's more about native in general. I think the biggest misconception is that like advertisers are attempting to trick users into clicking. And it's such like a flawed idea that I don't really understand how this has taken such root, because the advertisers that we work with, like, they don't want irrelevant or disengaged or fat finger traffic. They're like, the success depends on reaching a real user who wants to interact with your content or your page or your product or what lead gen you're trying to do. Like, I understand that there's like an element of creativity to these ads, right? Like, you do want to stand out. You do want to be noticed. You want to have a catchy headline or an image that might catch someone's eye when they're really busy and there's a lot on the page. But that's not deception. That's like good marketing. That's alignment with like reaching a user who would interact with your page. So to me, the biggest myth is that it's like quote unquote a trick. Because nobody wants that. They want real users who intended to interact with their page or are willing to take an action. This isn't the days of like, if you bring somebody to your page, that's meeting your KPIs. Like, there's a lot more to what the people are, like, the advertisers are trying to do. And so maybe the myth came from a previous reality. But I think that it's time for that myth to go away. It does not reflect what native advertising is today.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I mean, there's been South Park episodes on native, and I think there was a point, and it was when we were both in the New York office, where the marketing team I forget who was talking about it, but that term clickbait and almost like
Yep.
leaning into it, that it's good copywriting. I don't know if that was you or that was somebody else, but it was an interesting, thought, because I would always go to these meetings too, especially with these big brands, and we would talk about brand safety concerns and 100% share of voice and no alignment to anything else. And why is this stuff, like, why are these ads appearing as opposed to other things? But then you start asking them questions in the meeting, and you would get people to bring up CNN or Fox News, doesn't matter what you're affiliated with, and we would get them to kind of show us what they were getting recommended. And when we were out in LA, I remember a meeting where I forget, I'm not going to name the advertiser, but they were like so concerned about this, and then we started to ask them questions of, do you watch Bravo? Do you watch the Golden Globes? Like, this is why you're getting this like skincare product that's recommended by a Hollywood celebrity, and it kind of starts to click to them. And the other thing that starts to click is like what you said, people do engage with these ads, and people do actually take real action, where for the longest time I was like flabbergasted. I didn't know, I'm like, who's buying this stuff? Who's actually submitting their information, and who's doing this? But then you see some of the ads that are constant, the people that are spending like the $150,000 a day, and you can kind of see that it's because of the alignment and because of the targeting and because of what's going on that is allowing them to spend. And it's not like they're tricking somebody to click on it.
Exactly. And I mean, and a lot of this, it's a joint effort between the advertiser creating the right creative that draws in the right audience, and us as the platform matching that creative with the right user at the right time. But on neither side of this equation are we trying to reach an irrelevant or disengaged user who's just like quote unquote tricked or baited, to use the old terminology, into clicking. We all benefit from really finding the right person to serve that advertisement to. And so like that's the thing. And I think, as I said before, maybe this came from a real place when native was started developing, and it was really just about showing a large volume of users going to your website. But it's not the case anymore. Like, people are after real tangible results.
Yeah. I'm just thinking of the different ways that we've evolved in that targeting side too. Like, one of the coolest ways that I think is always forgotten about for performance marketers is just direct response, last click, and that's how a lot of people judge us. And one of the coolest products I think we ever built was the story sequencing product, to where we ran ads, cookied the users, put them in their own custom audience segment, then we retargeted them with something a little bit lower down the funnel. And it was super cool to see it actually work too. Like, people did recognize the brands, and their click-through rate was so much higher than even a general website retargeting campaign. And those days are kind of gone now, and there's a lot of data and IAB interest categories that we target. And on the CTV side, it's been super interesting to see the data and the type of households we can reach, and what people are in the house, and how many people are there. But that's kind of, I see it kind of like snapping back to that way a little bit, like people going more for first party targeting again, and paying more for the click or the impression, just because they know it's going to be less of a spray and pray, and maybe a higher value customer. So I'm kind of waiting on those days. Like, scale's really important, but I think you kind of need to do both at the same time. And I don't really see a lot of people in our world doing that just yet.
Yeah, well, and I do think that concept is really inherent to what we're trying to do in the algorithm side, to really understand the moment, the content, the context, every element that we can understand between the advertiser page to the end user, and create that best chance of connection. So yeah, I think you're right from like the overall like targeting, and it's not as popular anymore. It's a bit broader, but it really does layer into what we're trying to do from the algorithm side and our strategy there, for sure.
Cool. This was a good chat. I feel like, when you have like a suggestion box at work or something like that, or wherever you're at, for those of you guys that made it this far, and you're advertisers on the platform and you spend a lot of money or you don't, it doesn't matter.
Or you want to.
Or you want to. The account managers and the sellers at Teads are your suggestion box, and be fully confident that it makes its way to Laine and the team, and they see everything, like she said, the good and the bad and the ugly. So keep the feedback coming. We're excited about it. I think we're really well positioned. I'm not like blowing smoke up listeners' ass or anything. I mean, it's been a crazy, challenging year with the merge and all things happening, but it just seems like we're on the heels of something really, really great. And a lot of clients are already taking advantage of that. And like, we wouldn't have a business and we wouldn't be on this podcast and we wouldn't have a job if it wasn't working well. Yeah. But there's so much more juice left to squeeze out of it. So that's what I'm excited about next year. Any closing thoughts, final thoughts for the listeners?
I think that reiterating that we truly are trying to build the best product for you guys. Like, bring us the feedback, help us help you. What is that quote from? But no, truly, like, it's been great to be part of this world and working directly with the performance marketing team and clients, and loving being on a this is my first time being on a podcast.
Welcome.
Thank you. This is a thrill.
Maybe a recurring guest.
Maybe. Hey, we'll see. We'll see how the engagement numbers look like.
Yeah, I know. We got to look at them. They've been going down. Like, subscribe, retweet. No, I never gotten that pitch. That's not the salesperson.
Yeah,
I need to add that in, I think, at the beginning. Maybe if you guys made it this far and you listened and you, in the beginning, I might say, make sure you subscribe. So maybe I'll dish it out on this one for the first time. All right.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, thanks for having me, Joe. It's been great.
Yeah. Good catch up. I'm sure I'll talk to you soon.